All right. Well, Monica, should I just dive in? Do you have anything you want to say on the recording?
Oh, hi. Thank you, Dr. Wood, for presenting Intro to Cleansing tonight. I'm in the kitchen, so it's a little noisy, but just wanted to thank you for participating in our classes program. Our classes program is just a delightful way for people to share their knowledge and expertise, and we appreciate you teaching. And anybody else who's interested in being a teacher can email me at classes@olympiafood.coop, but without the dash, so just coop. And I'll let you take it away, Dr. Wood. I'm trying to get a view where you're prominent. I'm not
Oh,
sure
yeah.
I've gotten that. Because I'm on my phone. But why don't you go ahead and get started and I'll play with
Okay.
it.
Okay, sounds good. Hello, I'm Dr. Jennea Wood from Tummy Temple. I practice primarily in our Lacey location, but I do a lot of telemedicine as well, so I can do distance appointments with people elsewhere. I specialize in environmental medicine, all things, mold illness, uh, exposure to chemicals, and just the effects of environmental exposures on health and how to do cleansing and detoxification, which we're going to talk about in great detail today, as well as all manner of gastrointestinal problems, eczema, asthma, adrenal and thyroid problems, and more. So, yes, this is a topic that I'm very passionate about and love to share about because it affects all of us. So, the most important takeaways that I want to leave you with today are our bodies are built to do this. They're built to detoxify and clear out the waste products that our own bodies make, and then also some degree of, chemicals or things that we get exposed to from the environment. But we can help that process along. Two, I want to inspire people to look at cleansing as something you can do out of self-care and self-love in order to just feel healthier and stronger in your body. It's not about, punishing yourself or anything harsh. It's self-care. And then third, the most important thing is to limit exposure to toxins in our daily life, because if we're constantly being exposed to toxins, or toxicants is actually the term for environmental chemicals. Toxins are technically things made by biological uh, systems like molds make toxins, some animals make toxins. So we want to limit exposure to toxicants in our daily life to avoid constantly retoxifying at a rate that's just beyond what our body can keep up with. I'll be sending out a handout to people signed up for the class on my top 6 favorite steps you can take in your daily life and in your home to help reduce environmental chemical exposure. And then this is not about perfection. There's no way we could all avoid every single source of chemicals or toxins or toxicants in our environment. It's just about reducing exposure as much as possible and then trying not to stress about it beyond that, because there's no perfection. We can incorporate small acts of cleansing into our daily lives, and that will help enormously with long-term health. And then we can choose a form of deeper cleansing, maybe doing like a cleanse for a week or 10 days or 14 days, 1 to 4 times a year to just go a little bit deeper and really help the body clean house. And that also can be a really therapeutic practice. The reason I'm teaching this class in October is because there's this little pause where we're entering fall. Um, the leaves are dropping their leaves. They're sort of getting rid of what they don't need anymore for the winter. And we can kind of do the same. It's a pause before the holidays and after all the hectic travel and going of summer. And it's a nice time to just let go of some things, such as clearing out what we don't need anymore, like toxicants that we've been exposed to throughout the year. Um, and, there's still time to do a little bit of gentle cleansing before the holidays hit. And oftentimes we just are, again, eating more treats and maybe some more junk food and also it's just too cold after a certain point. Our bodies don't really want to do a lot of cleansing in the dark of winter. That's not really the time for it. So this is a nice time. So why cleanse? Well, we want to do this because we are being exposed to toxins every day, and our bodies also just make metabolic waste products in the normal course of living. Um, and because, over the past 100 years or so, the number of chemicals that we get exposed to has gone up and up and up. It's really an important thing to pay some attention to and help our bodies with. So just want to touch on some of the sources of toxicity. Our normal metabolism, yes, that creates some just waste that we need to clear out. But if it were just that, our bodies would keep up with that, no problem. We really are built to be cleaning house and clearing things out. However, other sources would be unfiltered drinking and bathing water, cleaning supplies. A lot of times, indoor air pollution is worse than outdoor because of chemical-laden cleaning products. Skincare and makeup can be full of toxicants, air pollution, scented candles and air fresheners, mold, which is an unfortunate reality in this part of the world. Storing our food or water in plastic bottles um, exposes us to, BPA or if it's a BPA-free container, oftentimes BPS or BPF, which are probably just as bad. They just haven't been studied for as long. And then in our foods, there can be pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, food additives, and then just foods that we don't digest well are gonna leave some residue that are basically our body has to deal with and clear out. One of the things I love about the co-op is that they pay a lot of attention to these things and stock mostly organic food and mostly non-toxic, really safe, wonderful cleaning products, body care, skincare, all of that. They're very mindful of that, and I appreciate it very much. And then in our lifestyle, if we're not moving or getting exercise or sweating regularly, that affects our lymph movement, which makes it harder for our bodies to clear things out. And then if we're not breathing properly, that can kind of leave us clogged up in a different way. And then, we can have toxic feelings too. So if we're not expressing our feelings and just kind of letting things stew, that's sort of a form of emotional toxicity. So expressing feelings is a type of detoxification. So this is getting pretty out of date at this point, but it still is pertinent. There's a cord blood study done in 2004 that looked at what chemicals were present in the umbilical cord blood sample from 10 babies born in 2004. And it was over 200 industrial chemicals and pollutants found in these little pure babies' blood. And so we're just all getting exposed to this stuff. And whatever we can do to reduce that exposure is really valuable. My goal is not to make you panic. but just to bring mindfulness about reducing exposure where we can. So this is where cleansing comes in. We want to reduce exposure where we can, and then help our bodies more efficiently eliminate the things we are inevitably exposed to. So who could benefit from cleansing? Really, nearly everybody, with the exception of babies, very young children, and pregnant or nursing women. If you're pregnant or nursing, you don't want to be stirring up any toxicants that are stored in your body, because then the fetus is going to get a bigger exposure, and we don't want that. In older children, some of these things that we'll talk about today could be adapted to be workable for them, but you just want to be extra gentle. Some signs and symptoms that might point to a special need for cleansing would be acne, allergies, like seasonal allergies or allergies to a lot of things, asthma, eczema. Diabetes is particularly tied to high body burden of environmental toxicants. Headaches and migraines, autoimmune diseases, digestive disturbances, varicose veins, hemorrhoids, and fatigue and brain fog can all be symptoms of increased body burden of toxicity. So I want to talk a little bit about the concept of the organs of elimination. This is important to understand because this is where people differ in which body systems need the most support when it comes to cleansing. So as we're going through these, it's really helpful to make note of which, if any, of these body systems you tend to have symptoms in or struggle with. And then when we talk about therapies that support the different systems, those might be the therapies for you to prioritize. So the primary organ systems of elimination are the main ways that our bodies are just built to eliminate toxins. So this is, if everything's humming along, fine and dandy, these will be the areas that are working well and kind of keeping up with whatever exposures we have. So it includes the skin via sweating, the lungs via breathing, the kidneys via urination, the intestines via stool, and then the emotions. When these systems aren't working well, such as being constipated, not rarely if ever sweating, and some people actually really have a hard time sweating, and oftentimes we can kind of work on that and do some things to help get them sweating, which is really therapeutic. So if some of these systems are particularly not working well and there's just like a building up burden of toxicity, we kind of begin to start exuding toxins from our pores and mucous membranes, and that produces uncomfortable symptoms. So we might be more prone to gut infections and imbalances in the gut bacteria or microbiome, excess mucus production in the gut, in the stool, in the lungs, throat, nose, or sinuses, frequent urinary tract infections or frequent vaginal or urogenital infections, acne, eczema, and other types of skin rashes. When the organ systems of elimination are clogged or functioning insufficiently, the body will actually begin to accumulate toxins in the tissues of the skin, mucous membranes, muscles, joints, and then eventually the vital organs and brain, leading to more severe disease. So an example of a well-intentioned but counterproductive treatment is using steroid cream for eczema. So this just suppresses the symptom rather than addressing the underlying issue of accumulated toxicity. And, I'm not saying that it's the end of the world to use a little bit of steroid cream once or twice, but if this is the main thing you're doing to control eczema, then that underlying issue will just continue simmering, and, you can actually end up with worse problems later on. So we're going to kind of go through each of the each of the organs of elimination and just go into a bit more detail of how they work. So the digestive tract breaks down our food for absorption into the bloodstream and then also absorbs water. Signs of congestion in the digestive tract would be constipation, gas, bloating, burping, and heartburn. It is clogged by not eating enough dietary fiber, not getting enough water, and not moving enough, as well as by processed foods and food additives, imbalances in the gut bacteria or excess yeasts or fungus or parasites taking over too much space in the microbiome. And all of those imbalances, the imbalances in the gut microbiome, create excess waste that is toxic to you. So it just kind of adds to the toxic burden. So that can include things like small intestine bacterial overgrowth or intestinal candida. And then not having enough digestive juices clogs the digestive system as well. So by digestive juices, I mean stomach acid, bile that's created by the liver and stored in the gallbladder, and then digestive enzymes that are made by the pancreas. And those are kind of the three ingredients that mix with our food and help digest it fully. So if we're not making enough of those, the food won't digest properly. You'll get kind of more bacteria eating it instead and producing gas and slowing things down. So that also clogs the system. So we can keep the system humming along happily by drinking plenty of water, getting regular exercise, eating plenty of fiber in mostly whole food forms. So our ancestors and, present day hunter-gatherer tribes that are still living a traditional lifestyle get or got over 100 grams of fiber per day in many cases, whereas most Americans get an average of 12 to 18 grams per day. The Institute of Medicine recommends 25 grams a day for women and 33 grams a day for men, and that's likely still not enough. I would say that because of the way our foods are grown and have been bred over decades and decades to have less fiber, it would be hard to get up to 100 grams of fiber a day, but I think aiming for 30 at a bare minimum and more like 40 or 50 is a good goal. And then if you have digestive symptoms, get help discovering the root cause. So that could be food intolerances. It could be dysbiosis, which is the medical term for an imbalance in the gut microbiome. It could be low stomach acid, small intestine bacterial overgrowth. So come in for a consult and we can figure out what's going on there and help you fix it. And then colonics, that's something we offer at Tummy Temple. Colon hydrotherapy or colonics it's like a warm bath for the colon. It's just like using water to gently wash out waste. And it can be a really valuable reset, both to clear out what's kind of stuck, clear out a bunch of bile, which actually carries toxins with it. And then, just decongest everything and start fresh. One note is that if you are very constipated, there's kind of no point doing a cleanse until you get things moving first, because toxins will just recirculate and settle elsewhere in the body, and you will likely feel very crummy if you do a cleanse while constipated. So use, natural stool softeners or come in for colonic or, whatever you need to do to get things moving first before you do a cleanse. Some of the main tools we use for this purpose are Temple Calm, which is just magnesium citrate powder. So it's really easy to raise or lower the dose in small increments. Daiju, which is our herbal formula. It's actually a Chinese medicine herbal formula that helps with motility. And then we carry some high quality probiotics that we use to just help promote gut health. Temple Biotic and Immunospore are a couple of them. And yeah, magnesium citrate is widely available. I know the co-op must have that as well. Okay, so, and then I just wanted to post in the chat. I'm going to share a product collection link. I don't know if this will show up in the recording, possibly not. So we'll see, but I will post it just in case. And then I also will send out that follow-up email probably early next week because I have a full schedule tomorrow. And I'll include the link in there as well. Okay, so moving on to the liver. The liver works by filtering toxins and toxicants out of the blood and processing them to make them easier to eliminate, as well as doing countless other tasks. The liver does hundreds and hundreds of tasks for us. It's a very incredible organ that deserves all of our gratitude. Things that clog the liver are alcohol, air pollution, water pollution, pharmaceuticals. Obviously, these can be life-saving in some circumstances, and I'm not saying to stop all your medications, but they can also have side effects and can give the liver more work. Food additives clog the liver, excess sugar and junk food, smoking, inadequate sleep. In Chinese medicine, it's long been known that the most active time of the liver, for humans anyway, is during the night. So I recommend going to bed by 10 or 11 p.m. and getting at least 8 hours of sleep per night to best support proper liver function, as well as health in general. And then a disrupted sleep-wake cycle or circadian rhythm is really hard on the liver. So there have been studies in mice that show that the liver grows in size by 40% during waking and feeding hours, and then shrinks back down to baseline during sleep hours on a 24-hour cycle. So this is just a natural, normal thing that happens, and it sort of shows that the liver has this really active time and then this dormant time, really active time, dormant time. And the pattern stops happening if sleeping and feeding times don't follow a regular, steady daily pattern. There have been small studies in humans that show a similar pattern. So this correlates to our understanding that the liver operates best on a steady cycle of regular sleep times, regular meal times, regular waking times. Our bodies really like consistent patterns of activity and are built to follow, to sort of cue those patterns with daylight and nighttime as our cues. So things like international travel, shift work, irregular meal times, and disrupted sleep all interfere with this and therefore are hard on the liver. So things we can do to keep the liver detoxing: obviously reduce exposure to environmental chemicals, minimize alcohol intake or avoid it entirely. Try and eat foods that are low in chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, etc. And just, healthy whole foods that aren't super processed. Get 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep per night. And if you struggle with this, that would be a good reason to seek out help, come in for a consult and get some support with that. Castor oil packs are a wonderful thing for the liver. So this involves, if you haven't heard of it, putting castor oil over the liver, so over the upper right quadrant of the abdomen, and really just over the whole belly is helpful, from hip bones up to pec or bra line. And you can, put a cloth over that and then a heating pack. I will also, in the follow-up email, send out a handout on how to do castor oil packs. But you would keep it on for 30 to 45 minutes with a heating pack, or you actually can just apply it at bedtime, but you definitely want to wear an old t-shirt that you don't care about and tuck it into your pajama pants, because castor oil will badly stain your sheets if you let it get on there. Coffee enemas are really helpful for the liver. They tend to increase the liver's own glutathione production. Glutathione is an antioxidant that our livers make. We can also take additional glutathione to help the liver, lungs, and brain. It's a powerful antioxidant, and then also just helps with detoxification. Our bodies use it, kind of tag it on to toxicants to make them more water soluble to help get them along their path out of the body. So you can do coffee enemas at home. We have kits and YouTube video on our YouTube channel of how to do this. And then also you can have a coffee enema as an add-on during a colonic. And then colonics are good for the liver. So even if you're not constipated, additional toxins get carried out of your system beyond what would be removed by a normal bowel movement alone during a colonic. So a lot of times people feel just kind of clearer headed, better energy after a colonic, especially with a coffee enema for this reason. And then we can use herbs and other therapies to do a cleanse a couple times a year. For example, we have a simple program going right now that's 3 supplements that you take 3 times a day for 2 weeks. One of them is supports bile flow, which helps carry out toxins and helps just clear gunk out of the liver. And then there is a supplement that is sort of like a multivitamin for the liver that helps provide extra of all the nutrients that are needed for the liver to do its multiple phases of chemical reactions to get our toxicants in the right form to be eliminated from the body. And then the third supplement is a time-release oregano supplement, and that interacts with the microbiome, helps kill yeast, helps sort of balance things out. So it's not, it's not a super intense, it's not meant to be a fast or anything like that. So it's kind of good for this time of year. You just eat a wholesome whole foods diet, ideally avoid alcohol, cane sugar, any foods you react to, processed foods for 2 weeks, and then take these supplements, and they're all 20% off this month. So yeah, I'll note that in the follow-up email as well, and they're in our product collection. And then we can add all sorts of foods and herbs into the diet just on a daily basis. Like, this can be an ongoing thing throughout the year, or especially if you're doing a specific cleanse, you can focus on these foods. So this includes dandelion root, which you can make into a coffee substitute. You can use it as a tea. Milk thistle seed, burdock root, which I know the co-op often carries in the vegetable section, and that can be made into soups or stews. Onions and garlic are wonderful for the liver, as are mushrooms, lemon juice, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, etc. And then turmeric is wonderful for the liver, as are beets. And then fermented foods are wonderful too, to just help with gut health and liver function. A couple other products that we use regularly are HEPA caps, which are just a really nice kind of supportive herbal combination by Wise Woman Herbals. Very nourishing to the liver and protective. And then one of those 3 products that is in our cleanse program is called Detox Optimizer 2. That's the multivitamin for the liver. We use that a lot. And then liposomal glutathione. So I was talking about how glutathione helps tag toxicants for elimination in the liver, and then also as an antioxidant that protects our liver, lungs, and brain. You can take extra glutathione, and it doesn't absorb very well if you don't get the right form. So a liposomal form helps with absorption. And then you can do intravenous therapy to get some of these nutrients direct into the bloodstream. So we do an IV called Detox Supreme that has IV glutathione. And so that really avoids the absorption issues that you can run into with glutathione supplements. It, just goes straight into the veins. So that can be very helpful as well. Okay, next organ of elimination is the kidneys. They filter your blood and excrete toxins through the urine. So things that clog the kidneys are being dehydrated, air pollution, water pollution, pharmaceuticals, food additives, smoking, and holding your urine for too long. That can be a challenge with people with certain jobs where they just don't have access to a bathroom, or school teachers that can't get away from caring for their children, or bus drivers who are, stuck driving. But that can be hard on the kidneys. So we can support our kidneys by staying hydrated, making sure we're getting some electrolytes with our water, including potassium, chloride, and magnesium. Urinate when you feel the urge. Try not to hold it. Try and just go when you need to go. And then reducing exposure to all of those environmental chemicals that we were talking about. Next, we have the lungs. So they are taking in oxygen, eliminating carbon dioxide, helping maintain the precise acidity of the blood by modulating how much carbon dioxide we breathe out. And they can be clogged through shallow breathing, air pollution, smoking, eating foods that increase mucus production. And this can vary from person to person, but dairy and cane sugar are some of the more common culprits. We can keep them detoxing through just breathing. It seems obvious, but many of us develop habits of shallow breathing as a response to stress. So, yeah, just, slow, steady belly breathing is really valuable. And then having a daily meditative practice that includes focus on abdominal breathing can help shift us back into a rest and digest state, and also help the lungs function well. Okay, two more topics. I think, three. The skin. Sweating is a major way that we help eliminate waste and toxins. So if you're having skin outbreaks of any kind, it's very likely that the other organs of elimination are overwhelmed and the body is struggling to cope. The skin can get clogged through not enough exercise, chemicals in body or skincare products, and that'll be touched on in the handout that I send out. Petroleum-based body care products like Vaseline, antiperspirant deodorants, which just clog up our sweat glands. And we can help keep our skin detoxing effectively through especially sauna therapy, especially with infrared, but regular saunas are great too. Dry saunas, there's a ton of research supporting the benefits of dry sauna therapy. And especially during a cleanse, ideally you'd be doing a sauna 3 to 5 times a week for the duration of the cleanse. So that's a really, really great supportive therapy. I know there's a infrared sauna both at Nearing Total Health, which is just next door to us in Lacey, as well as at Athena, the gym that is on Pacific. And both of those can be booked by the half hour, so that if you don't have access to a sauna elsewhere, those are great resources. And then the lymph. The lymphatic system is a complex network of vessels throughout the whole body that acts as an immune superhighway and a body-wide waste transportation system. So it cleans up things that just aren't supposed to be out in our body and the spaces between our cells, around our muscles, all over. So it'll clean up or address bacteria that are found there, viruses, precancerous cells, chemicals, mold toxins, and yeasts. The lymph is a fluid that should be able to flow smoothly through these little vessels that form a network all over our body. And it should be able to be pumped along when we move our bodies or use our muscles. However, the lymphatic fluid can get thickened and clogged, and then it doesn't work optimally. So, symptoms of clogged lymph include chronic swelling in the body that is not due to a heart condition. There are other reasons that you could have swelling like that. Or, severe liver disease could cause this as well. But oftentimes it's the lymphatic system. Swollen lymph nodes, and this can just happen when you're fighting off an infection and then it goes away, but sometimes people get chronically swollen lymph nodes, and that's a sign of lymphatic congestion. Breast pain is a sign of lymphatic congestion, as well as hormone imbalance, and then just chronic body aches and pains. So it is clogged via lack of exercise. One of the biggest things is dehydration. So the lymph will stay thin and fluid, generally speaking, if we stay hydrated, and it will thicken, as we dehydrate. So that's one of the best things we can do, is just stay hydrated. And then exposure to a lot of chemicals in the environment, from cleaning products, motor oil, air pollution, chemical-laden body care products, etc., really clogs the lymph. So besides movement and exercise, other things that move the lymph include hydration, as we touched on. Dry skin brushing is wonderful, and I have a handout that I can include on that. Rebounding, which is just jumping on a trampoline, but there are, little trampolines with sort of a hand, a little rail to hold on to that you can get, that are really specifically for lymphatic therapy. Also good for building bone strength. And then castor oil packs are wonderful for the lymphatic system, and lymphatic massage. So we do a special form of lymphatic massage at Tummy Temple called electrolymphatic therapy. It uses glass wands with gentle electromagnetic treatment to help break up stuck lymph and promote proper flow of lymph through the vessels. It's a therapy that's great for helping move toxins out of the tissues and to the liver for processing. So this technology penetrates more deeply than dry skin brushing or manual lymphatic therapy, and can reach and affect lymph vessels and lymph nodes located deep in the abdomen, in and around the intestines, which actually we have a ton of lymphatic vessels and lymphatic tissue all around our gut. You may have heard the saying, 70% of your immune system is in your gut, and that's exactly what is being talked about there, the lymphatic tissue around the intestines. And the electrolymphatic therapy machine provides feedback on how congested the lymphatic system is and which areas are most congested by the amount of drag felt as the wand moves over the skin. So it'll slide very smoothly and easily over the skin in areas where there's not much congestion, and kind of drag or stick a little bit in areas where there's more congestion. It's also a really relaxing therapy. So our recommendation of how often to have this treatment varies from person to person, but for an otherwise healthy person during a cleanse, I would say 1 to 3 sessions would be a great place to start. And then finally, our emotions. So our emotions are a really important form of nervous system discharge. So it's really easy to avoid feeling one's emotions, and they can get sort of stuck and stored in the body. I really like the concept that the body is the subconscious. And so, a lot of times we can store our stress or our anxiety or our anger in different places in the body and feel it as pain or tension there. A lot of people, part of their gut issues is stress or anxiety. Um, the liver in Chinese medicine is associated with anger, the lungs are associated with grief, and I frequently see that bear out with, stuck grief with having some like flare of asthma or, something going on like that. It's not always true, but it frequently is. So that's an important thing to pay attention to. And, seek out counseling, homeopathic treatment, meditation, acupuncture, or craniosacral therapy to help you process emotions and allow them to just dissipate naturally. Okay, so it's always important to pay attention to product quality if you're going to be taking any products during a cleanse. There's a lot of junk products out there at just like big box stores, um, and cleansing is a huge buzzword. And so, there's many things out there being marketed for cleansing, and you just want to be mindful and choose products that are really good quality, because otherwise you'll just kind of be adding to toxicity. So when designing a cleanse for yourself, we always want to recommend approaching the cleanse from the desire for self-care and nourishment, not, deprivation. Um, Make sure you're not constipated. Colonics can help a lot with that. Or just, using some magnesium citrate or that daiju that I mentioned to get things moving. You, especially during a cleanse, I mean, just in your life in general, reduce exposure to toxins as much as possible, but especially during a cleanse, you really want to be avoiding alcohol, tobacco, coffee, sugar, and processed foods. Make sure you're drinking filtered water. Try to choose organic foods if you can, and as much as possible. And then make it a time to get plenty of rest, a time to slow down as much as possible. Prioritize sleep, eat a diet rich in multicolored fruits and vegetables, as well as whole grains and legumes, and that will help you get more fiber and just more variety, which supports a healthy microbiome. Sweat regularly. It's not really a time during a cleanse, you don't want to be focusing on high intensity exercise. It's actually a metabolically expensive process for the body to do a whole bunch of detoxification. The liver has to expend a lot of energy and use up a lot of nutrients to process toxicants for elimination. And so if you're trying to like start a huge workout plan at the same time, your body's going to be sort of tugged in two directions. It's like, do we expend all of this energy on working out really hard, or do we expend all this energy on detoxification? So your body will probably deprioritize the detoxification if you push yourself really hard on intense exercise. So instead, passive sweating through sauna therapy is really the best way to go. However, moving your body daily to just keep your blood circulating, keep your lymph moving, that's really helpful. So daily walking and stretching. And then, that alone can be a really just a break for your body. But it's basically just a really healthy lifestyle. So then it is really valuable to kind of increase your impact by adding in some supplements or herbs that ramp up those chemical reactions in the liver. They're called phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification pathways. So one thing we often use for a really gentle approach is an herbal formula called detox tonic. And then, if we want to kind of ramp it up some more, we'll do that Detox Optimizer 1 that helps with the bile flow, 2 or 3 tablets with each meal 3 times a day. Detox Optimizer 2, that's the liver multivitamin, 2 capsules twice a day to just give the liver all the nutrients it needs to do its job. And then potentially the Temple Wild Oregano That's the time release oregano, 2 tablets 2 to 3 times a day to kind of balance out the microbiome. And then it can be really helpful to add in a high quality probiotic as well. So that's kind of what we do to ramp things up and add in some support. And then just to recap, for the gut and liver support, coffee enemas and colonics are wonderful, just as far as supportive therapies. For lymphatic support, dry skin brushing, movement, rebounding, jumping on that trampoline, and then electrolymphatic therapy. For all three, the gut, the lymphatic system, and the liver, castor oil packs are wonderful. And then, yeah, oh, I already mentioned coffee enemas. That's good for the liver as well. For the nervous system, brain lymphatic system, and emotional support, craniosacral therapy is wonderful. And then for just general detox support, Epsom salt baths are so great. I recommend putting in quite a lot of Epsom salts, like 3 or 4 cups into the tub and soak for 30 minutes. So that is wonderful as well. Epsom salts have, it's magnesium sulfate usually. You can get magnesium citrate salts. But the magnesium sulfate, you actually absorb some of the sulfur through the skin, and our bodies need sulfur to produce some of the chemicals that are needed for detoxification. So, wrapping up here, those 3 products that we use for cleansing are 20% off for the month of October. And then I'll send out that follow-up email early next week that will have a coupon code for our class products and a link to look at the products discussed in class. And then that follow-up email will also have just resources from the class. So a number of the handouts that I talked about. And I believe that is everything. So thank you so much. It's always my pleasure to share this information and just offer something that hopefully will help you feel healthier in your body and reduce exposure to chemicals moving forward. We also offer a discount on if you want to try one of our services. So if you want to come in for a consult visit or a colonic or a electrolymphatic therapy treatment or a craniosacral therapy treatment, you can, if you book it in the next week, it can be for further out, but it has to be scheduled in the next week. You can get $20 off your first session. And then there'll be 20% off of any of the products in the product collection also for the next week following when I send out the email. So that'll probably be Monday or Tuesday. Again, thanks for being here. Thank you so much to the Olympia Co-op for all you do to care for our community and for running this classes program. And that's all I have for you. I hope you have a lovely night.
Thank you, Dr. Wood. We appreciate the information and look forward to the handouts.
Absolutely. All right. Good night, Monica.
Good night.